so forth. Which leads me to my first 2 points. On my fingers, you will see that I'm wearing these finger picks. They're great. They're invented by a company called Alaska Picks, just like the state Alaska, with pick being spelled P-I-K. So you put Alaska Pick, alaskapik.com. A great guy in there, the creator named Ken, has done a great service to the guitarists of the world by inventing these wonderful finger picks. The reason why they're wonderful, especially if you're playing acoustic guitar, is that if you are doing a lot of finger picking, it will shred your fingernails. It will literally rip them out of your finger bed. So if you're doing a lot of finger picking and you're playing like a tailor and you're playing on steel strings, do yourself a favor, go to Alaska Pick and buy some of these picks, and so you won't rip your fingers to death. Ken, I hope you appreciate this free promotion for Alaska Pick. The second thing that I wanted to get at is that a classic opening, for example, in the song The Claw by Jerry Reed, shows us that we can do some very fancy things with some very simple techniques. For example, that particular song opens by simply grabbing the first 2 strings, the A string and the B string at the 5th fret, and you hit on these, and then you walk down on the 2nd string chromatically. And then you can kind of do whatever you want to from there. Okay, but the point is, the trick is that to understand that in finger picking, the guitarist's best friend is to be able to double clutch, to grab 2 strings at the same time and walk down on one of them. You see how that works? Well, you can do that on these 2 strings too. Or simply shift it to the 2nd and 3rd string. Okay, a classic bluegrass country finger picking move. Also, it sounds great when you do it, this kind of move down in what we would call the A minor formation, where, say, for example, you have your finger on the 1st fret of the 1st string, the 2nd finger on the A note. You can move that all around, as well as with the E7 formation. That moves around nicely too. So, always be asking yourself, well, what kind of things can I put together? So, say for example, if I were to go, that's cool. Okay, now I'm going to grab my A minor formation. Now I'm going to grab my E7 formation. And there, you've got a little trick that can pretty much astound anyone in a coffee shop. But there's really nothing to it behind the scenes. Song that I'm called the Robert Johnson Blues, I'm going to be combining a lot of these techniques, in which I'll be using an A7 chord, a very simple chord made at the 2nd fret, in which I'll be hammering on both the C natural on the 1st fret and the D on the 3rd fret. So I'm basically moving around the A7 chord. See that? To a D7 chord made like this. But the thing I like about this is having the open E, so I can play around with that, and I can hammer on the E. I can move it up to make an E7. not complicated. It's a lot easier than it looks. Once you've got that groove going with the independent thumb and using the fingers either to clutch the strings or to do an arpeggio, you know, you're pretty much set free to experiment. So in this particular case, I'm going like this. Hey, why don't I fool around a little bit? Now, watch, I can also go into an A formation by playing the A on the 10th fret, okay? Remembering that my C is just not that far away on the 8th fret of the 1st string, where I can just grab it. Allowing just a great hillbilly chord, one of the great hillbilly banjo rolls of all time. I can move this formation down. Okay, so putting all of these little, I guess, you know, tricks or techniques together, these are just things that are kind of fluid and you can have fun with them. Here's how I came up with the Robert Johnson Blues, which might kind of be an ode to Jerry Reed too. It's not really as hard as it seems. Robert Johnson Blues. We'll be back with some more Redneck Hillbilly video lessons soon. Thank